Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 9 at Kentucky Downs on a star-studded Saturday afternoon at the Downs. It's the Grade 2 Fanduel Turf Sprint. We're going 3/4 of a mile on the European-style turf course. $1 million is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. This race is the kickoff leg of a 50-cent all-graded stakes pick 4 with only a 14% takeout, a wide open big field, 12 in the body of the race. 13 through 15 listed as also eligibles. You can make a case for several horses in here.
Yeah, you can. I wanted to make a case for just about everybody, Dan. I do feel like there's a chance that you get a little bit of chaos here. And as I say that, I will recognize that the 12, Arrest Me Red, the morning line favorite, he probably is the horse to beat. He's got the right running style, I think, for this race because he's just handy enough where he doesn't need the lead, but he won't be compromised if they go slow early in this race. So I think he's the horse to beat, but I think he's far from a cinching here.
I agree with you. We'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and I think you hit the nail on the head with Arrest Me Red's running style. There doesn't appear to be a ton of blazers in this turf sprint, and Arrest Me Red is quick from the stalls, and he's not exactly a speed-crazy horse. He can rate just off a big long shot like Johnny Unleashed, and he should be right in the thick of things when they turn into that long stretch.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you really like about him, if you're thinking about taking the short price, is just that he's going to get the right trip in this race, and it might just be enough, Dan. So it's to his advantage that they could ride him however they want to ride him in here, but he's still got to show up and run one of his good races to beat this field.
Let's talk about the expected pace setter, the one Johnny Unleashed, who was beaten by Arrest Me Red 2 starts back at Churchill Downs after getting hooked up in a bit of a pace duel. He's quick from the gate. He occasionally pops at a pretty big price, but to me, maybe this race is just a little bit too tough.
Yeah, I felt the same way about him. He's a huge price on the line, and he is going to be forward in here in a race that, they might not be blazing early. So maybe this is a horse who could really outrun his odds in here. I couldn't really talk myself into him, but he's not a horse who I feel like has absolutely no chance to win at a big price.
Trainer Bill Mott will send out the number 2, Chewing Gum. Joel Rosario takes the mount, and if the pace is honest, I think this horse is a very strong contender from the back of the pack. He is a true closing sprinter. They shipped him out to Southern California for the Hernandez 2 starts back. He came from out of it to win. And last time out at Woodbine, he just caught a hot horse that had everything his own way on the lead. Philo D'Ariana is very good. He came back to win the King Eddie with a 98 Buyer at Woodbine. But that horse just got loose, and he walked up front.
Yeah, this horse did not have a fair chance last time. I wouldn't concern myself too much with the Connaught Cup. His prior form's fine. He's the kind of horse, Dan, who I recognize he could win this race for sure. I think there's a lot to like about him in here. I'm just not Chewing Gum's biggest fan. I don't really like any of his races. He's only 5-1 on the line. For me personally, that's way too short. I would probably want twice that price if I was going to get interested, but I recognize that he could win this race.
Necker Island, the number 3, enters this race in good form. He's finished first in his last 2 races. The problem is both of those races came on dirt, and it just appears he's a better dirt horse. And, well, if it rains at Kentucky Downs, there's no main track for him to run on.
Yeah, I like that they've cut him back to sprint this summer, and he's actually handled that really well. It feels like this might even be what he's best at, sprinting. And as you mentioned, he's 0 for 2 on turf in his career, but neither one of those are sprint races. And so maybe getting to sprint on the grass will be a good thing for this horse. Again, he's another horse, so I don't think I'm going to be betting on him in here, but I think there's a chance that he runs a little bit better than you might think.
Up next is the number 4, Charcoal, who just missed last time out in a turf sprint stake at Ellis Park. We're going to watch that race right now, and Charcoal occasionally gets himself into a little bit of a pickle, and that's what happens here in mid-stretch. He's in behind horses. He's looking for a place to run. Rafael Bejarano is going to find a seam now. He's going to split horses and come with a kick, and he's just going to miss. He's had these sort of issues in the past with traffic. He's not a bad little colt, though. Gelding, though.
Yeah, he's all right. He's also got the right running style too. The problem with that race that we just watched, at least that I had, was he was blocked for a long way, but he got through not only with time, he got through in time to make the lead in deep stretch, and he still got outfinished by a horse down the outside. I didn't love that about him. This horse hasn't won a race in over a year, Dan, and when he did win that race at Indiana, it was sort of similar to that one where he just sat in behind, he waited for room, he got it, and he got the job done. They take chances with this horse the way they ride him.
Last race produced 2 next out winners. The 6th place horse came back to win a stake at Colonial with a 100 Buyer. Arzak is next, and he's just another honest horse that's a little bit better than he looks on paper. He probably could have won the Highlander 2 starts back with any kind of a trip. It was a situation where he didn't break very well. He had to get into the race with a 4-wide sweeping move. He got beat a length. Last time out in the Troy, he's up against Golden Pal, who's an undefeated turf sprinter in North America and is probably the best turf sprinter in the country, and he ran really well again.
Yeah, just beaten less than a length in that Troy, and just beaten less than a length in a race where he was, sort of down inside. He had to alter course in the stretch to get clear, and I like the way that he stayed on. I loved his effort 2 starts back. I think if he just holds his form, Dan, and can handle this Kentucky Downs turf course, I think he's pretty tough in here.
The 6 Bob's Edge is an honest, late-kicking sprinter. He's a graded stakes winner on dirt. You could argue that dirt is his better surface, but he's 1 for 2 lifetime on turf, including this race, his most recent start on the grass last fall at Keeneland, where he's far behind. He works his way to the outside. He storms down the center of the course.
I liked this performance. He did go on after this. They brought him right back to the main track earlier this year down at Oaklawn, and his form really picked up. He ran 2 really nice races, but I liked this performance the last time he was on turf, Dan. He's another horse. It feels like he just might get overlooked in the wagering, and I feel like he has a real chance in here.
You and I have been fans of the 7 Gregorian Chant for a long time, and I'm wondering if you're starting to get a little bit tired of his act, sort of the close but no cigar in big races. Now, they tried to stretch him out around 2 turns last time out in the Wicker restricted stake. He ran really, really well in this race. He's just going to miss behind a sharp winner, a horse that would come back to run second in the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile last week with a 98 buyer. But this is kind of what we've seen from Gregorian Chant. A lot of near misses. Maybe turning back helps him out.
Yeah, I do like him turning back for this race. He did run well here going the mile. Another race, though, where I felt like if he was good enough, he had a real chance to win that race, and he just got outfinished by the winner. I don't know. He's kind of lost me a little bit. I like this distance for him, though, and I like his running style for this race. I know there's going to be a point as they start walking towards the gate that I'm going to want to try to talk myself into him, Dan. I hope I can resist it.
Won't be surprised if the European number 8 Bran appreciates this turf course. He won, of course, over European courses overseas. He won the Grade 3 Daytona going down the hill 2 back at Santa Anita. And we just saw him miss to Gregorian Chant last time out in the Wicker. So I like him cutting back, and he can get close to the pace.
Yeah, those things are all true, too. I can't argue with any of that stuff. I like him cutting back as well. He's another horse who feels like maybe he'll get overlooked a little bit here. He's 6-1 on the line. I wouldn't take that price on him. But if he drifts up off of that, I could see throwing him in there.
The 9 Front Run the Fed is a horse I want to use at 15-1 on the morning line. A stakes winner sprinting 2 starts back at Colonial. They threw him in the 4-star Dave, and he had the right trip. He saved ground in the pocket. He just couldn't step with those Grade 1 types in the lane. I love him cutting back in distance. He wants to sprint.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. He's probably a little bit underrated, this horse. So I don't know. And he's another one too, Dan. He's run well over this turf course. Where they ran him in this race a couple of years ago, he ran really well.
Totally Boss is up next, the number 10. And he won this race in 2019, so we know he handles the course. A lot of layoffs, but when he runs, he usually fires. He just missed at Ellis last time out. That was the charcoal race. He was the favorite. He came on the far outside. He got beat less than a length in a blanket finish.
He did. I didn't think he ran great in there, but I'm not going to be too hard on him for this horse. As you've already mentioned, he missed a lot of time. Only 1 start last year as a 6-year-old, but he came off the layoff at the end of May. I thought he looked really good winning that race at Churchill Downs. He's 3rd off the layoff now. His best race gives him a real chance in here. Dan, I'm definitely using this horse.
The 11 is Chasing Artie. Now, this horse tried Arrest Me Red 2 back in the Jaipur, 3 back in the turf sprint at Churchill Downs, and he missed all chances in the latter race. Missed the break very badly. Yeah. And the Jaipur, again, not a race where he got away to a good start. He at least rebounded last time out over the Tapeta at Gulfstream Park. The break is really key with this horse because he often puts himself behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, he's not a great gate horse. That's true. He's a horse who I think I'll just try to relegate him to underneath at a big price. That I think it's hard for me to see him beating this field, but he has run some pretty good races, most particularly that one you were talking about, 3 starts back. He actually ran a very underrated race that day behind Arrest Me Red.
Arrest Me Red is looking to become the 6th next out winner to emerge from the Grade 1 Jaipur. The race we're going to show you right now. He was favored in this race. He loomed boldly on the outside. He traveled very nicely turning into the stretch. The horse on the rail, True Valor, is a talented horse, and Arrest Me Red really had to work hard to get past True Valor. Once he did, however, Casa Creed, the defending Jaipur champion, pounced right on top of him.
Yeah, he runs fine, and he did have to work hard just to get to that short lead there. But the horse that's running him over at the end, I don't know, Dan, maybe he's the best turf sprinter in the country, Casa Creed. So I don't know. I feel like Arrest Me Red, he's in good form, even though he lost last time. He still ran really well. I do think he's the horse to beat in here.
He's the horse to beat. He has all the fast races, but he's another horse. He must prove himself over this course. And we've seen this course take down good horses in the past. It's that quirky. Yeah. The other horses on the also eligible list, the 13 Artemis City Limits. He's a big contender, Mike, I think, if he gets into this race, simply because he has speed and he has fast races for Maker.
Yeah, he's coming off of a really nice one. I didn't love his win 2 starts back at Belmont just because he got loose on a very slow pace and held on, but he ran a lot better last time.
Top pick time for race number 9, the kickoff leg of a 50-cent all-graded stakes pick 4, 14% takeout. You're going with Arzak. A lot of trouble 2 starts back, ran really well last time out, and a horse that's versatile enough that I think this course configuration isn't going to be an issue.
Yeah, I'm hoping he handles the Kentucky Downs turf course. So I guess that's sort of the biggest question, because you're right, Dan. His recent form sprinting on turf is really good, and I also feel like this distance is fine for him. The 6.5 that plays a little bit long at Kentucky Downs. I don't think that's a problem for Arzak either.
Spread leg for me. I want to use all 4 of my picks in the pick 4. Arrest Me Red, very consistent. Not sure I want to play him to win at a short price. Like his running style for this race. I think Chewing Gum's going to be kicking on at the end for Mott. I like Front Run the Fed, cutting back in distance. And I like Arzak for all the reasons Mike mentioned. 5, 12, 10, 2 for Mike. 12, 2, 9, 5 for me. It's the Fanduel Turf Sprint, race 9 at Kentucky Downs on Saturday. Good luck.